your fucking pride.
Monkey D. Goofy. D. Goofy. I'm just slobbering this bad guy.
Why would they do that, bro?
Bro, because it's get you ready, don't Yeah, no!
We're gonna try this again. I didn't really get too far into it, so I guess it's not too bad. What's good, everybody? It's your boy T-Rav. I am back with another video right now. We have the Green Knight movie review. Now, this one's not going to be super structured like my other ones are for a few reasons. One, this movie obviously is, it's been out for a while, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But I will say this movie didn't get a lot of praise and a lot of hype from what I saw. But this was one of the better movies of this year, dog. I'm just putting it out there. I think this is a sleeper movie, okay? Big time. And it's not just a Christmas movie. So if you think it's just a run-of-the-mill, regular Christmas movie, get that out your mind, because it's not the case, okay? This is a badass movie. You need to go see it, okay? So obviously, spoilers ahead. So if you hadn't gone and seen it, go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime now or whatever for, I think, $5. And I think it's actually coming back to the theater, since it is technically a Christmas movie. But like I said, this movie was dope, man. So obviously this story is following the legendary character of Gawain, who is one of the knights of King Arthur, right? We've all, I'm sure, heard the names and the stories of, you know, Merlin and Arthur and Lancelot and Gawain, all of them dudes, right? So what I really like about this movie is that, yeah, the Christmas is kind of like the backdrop of what starts the movie, but really and truly, this is a full-on adventure epic story that really only takes place over, I think, like 6 days or something like that, but you feel like you've gone through the adventure of a lifetime, man. So the movie starts off, right, and we see Gawain. He's basically wasting his life away, being an irresponsible kid, really, and, you know, he's in the whorehouse. He comes back home. He's all sloppy and stuff like that. Lies to his mom, talking about he was at church when we obviously know where he was. But he is not a knight yet, but obviously on his way to becoming a knight. And so I guess the criteria for fully being a knight, obviously you have to have, I guess, deeds to tell and merit to prove your valor and honor. And then Arthur will go out of his way to make you a knight. So they're having a Christmas party. Obviously, it's one of the biggest holidays of the year, and so they're gathering together, and Arthur's giving thanks and love to all of his people and his closest confidants that are there, because they're around the round table and all that, and other people are there enjoying the festivities. But what was really cool is that he like takes a moment to pull Gawain close to him, and he's like, man, like, I really am sorry that I've never fully embraced you, even though, like, I guess maybe he was just being tough on him before, or maybe he didn't, you know, care too much about him or respect him, because he is his nephew, but at the same time, his mother, who is obviously Arthur's sister, is a witch, okay? And I'm not sure where that falls into in terms of, like, Merlin. Is his mother like Merlin, or is she a different type of sorcerer, which, you know, magical stuff is going on, right? And she can tap into all that. So and Gawain actually gets into fights a couple times because, you know, people call his mother out of her name, call her a witch and stuff like that, and I guess it's seen as derogatory. So that's why it makes me wonder, how do people view Arthur when obviously he has Merlin at his side? But you know what I'm saying, that's just going off on a little tangent there. So yeah, when you first see Arthur, he's obviously well older. I mean, he looks like, obviously he looks like he's knocking on death's door. You know what I'm saying? He don't have a whole lot of time left. I guess Lancelot is gone. I don't know if he's dead at this point or if he just left and went on a journey himself or something like that. But it seems like he's been gone for a while, and his right hand, the seat at his right hand is open. So he takes that moment. He acknowledges Gawain, and he's like, you know, I want you to sit in this seat. You know what I'm saying? This seat is waiting for you when you're ready for it. But I want to get to know you. Tell me a story that lets me know you. And honestly, that was really, really cool, man, because when you first see Arthur, he looks so even though he's older, he looks intimidating. He looks like a hard ass dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't play no games. But to break that perception of him right away and to learn how genuine that he actually is. And Gawain, he seems like he's the type, obviously he's still irresponsible at this point, he's young and all that, but it seems like he's the type who would have lied out of that situation and told some crazy story just to please the king or whatever like that. But he doesn't in this case. He tells him the truth. He's like, I don't have a story to tell. And what I really like is that the wife, it's like her only moment in the movie, really and truly. But she said, you don't have a story to tell yet. And that's the thing that we keep being repeated to on and on in this movie. Because later on, his mother also tells him, like, you haven't done anything yet, but there's always going to be more Christmases, more stories to tell, stuff like that. That's going to be very, very important later down the line. But since no one, apparently, even Gawain and no one else, none of the other knights left, have any stories to tell Arthur. He just wants one adventure that he's never heard of before, things like that. And who walks through the door? Heavy-footed, big-chested, the big man himself, the Green Knight. Now, what's kind of weird about this is that his mother was with a couple other witches, and I don't know if it, like, they were summoning him, or if his mom actually controls the Green Knight, but I think there was, I don't know if they were required to bring him there, and like every so often I guess somebody has to perform an extraordinary trial to, I guess, see who's going to go on and be the next king later on down the line, because it seems like Gawain was really going to be the next up, right? But oh man, when the Green Knight stepped on the scene, like, everything changed. I mean, he walks in there, he pulls out the letter, he hands it to Arthur. You know, the wife reads it for him because I guess she doesn't know if it's a trap and whatnot. And as soon as she breaks the seal and opens it, the voice of the Green Knight starts talking through her. Stuff was wild. So he basically lays down the gauntlet. He's like, is there anybody here, any of your knights, because you can't do it, any of your knights here, anybody worthy that will come and strike me, give me one blow, and then I'll go return to the Green Chapel, and in 1 year's time, they have to come seek me out and be willing to take the same blow from me. Or up to. He said it can be as little as a little cut, or I could do just as bad to you as you did to me. And obviously, who steps up to the plate? Gawain. But this isn't your typical situation where you think it's just going to be clean cut, honorable duel, fight, or whatever like that. But he steps up, Green Knight looks at him, and he's fucking huge now. He's like a giant. Like, it's kind of crazy. Well, he's not like a giant, but he's huge, okay? He's significantly taller than everybody else. And he walks heavy, son. You know what I'm saying? So, he gets off his horse, and then he kneels down. And kneels like he's about to be executed. And Gawain's so confused, he's like, what the hell is this? What are you doing? Like, stand up and fight. And he turns his neck, son. That shit was crazy, dog. That shit was crazy. And he lets him do it. And Gawain chops his head off. And obviously Gawain is like super confused, and he isn't even sure of himself if he should go ahead and go through with it. Because I think at that point he kind of forgot. I'm not gonna say he forgot about the bet and all that stuff, but I don't think if he fully understood that this obviously isn't a regular being, so just treating him like a regular man is not going to work, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he thought that if he just dealt with the problem, you know, it'd make him seem like a man and he'd have a story to tell, and there's his honor right there. To a degree, he's right, because he goes and he chops off the head of the Green Knight and he falls dead to the floor. Everyone cheers his name, all this other stuff. seems like we're gravy. But homie hops back up, and he was like, okay, I'm glad that we got that out the way. I'll be waiting on you. And I will say another clean moment was like Arthur was speaking before anyone stepped up, because it seems like all the other knights are bitches at this point. Before anyone stepped up, Arthur was like, man, if I wasn't old, I swear to God, I'd leave across this table right now and meet you in battle. That's how I know Arthur was a hard-ass nigga, because when Green Knight first pulled up, he looked over at Merlin. Merlin tried to stop him, and Merlin obviously couldn't fuck with the Green Knight at this point. So when Arthur said that too, I was like, oh yeah, Arthur had to be a hard-ass nigga, bro. He had to be. That's why I was like, respect Arthur, bro. Respect it. If he could, he would have been on smoke, and no one else was, right? But, so, we flash forward, and, you know, you have a whole year that you can go seek him out, or you can do nothing. And Gawain seems to basically choose to do nothing for basically the whole entire year. He's drinking, he's being sloppy bastard. Yeah, people tell his story of, oh, he slayed the Green Knight, yada, 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 and he'll one day go to do this quest or whatever. And he basically lets the whole year waste away. And then one night he comes back from the bar, sloppy as shit, walks through the door, and Arthur's there. Like, just basically by himself. You know, no guards, nothing like that. He's like, I came to see you. And he knows, obviously, sloppy drunk, all that other stuff. And he was like, your quest isn't done. Like, you haven't even really started it. So, what are you gonna do? Ball's in your court. He doesn't pressure you to do anything. Nothing like that. And some people may have taken it weird. I didn't take it weird. I thought it was just like showing how much care Arthur gives to his people. Because he takes a rag of his own. And obviously you wouldn't think a king would do something like that. And then he wipes his face. He wipes some of the dirt off of his face. Just showing you how much he actually cares about his people and stuff like that. And it was it was one of the cooler moments I've seen in a long time. You can understand why people would feel like they need to fight for a king like that. You know what I'm saying? If he's willing to do something so small and trivial as that, and then he's come to your house to wait for you to see you by himself, like, normal people in power don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was the last thing that really inspires him to go and take on the quest, right? Because nothing was kicking him in the ass before, but that kind of did. And Arthur is dying, you know what I'm saying? He don't have a whole lot longer to go. So he sets off on his journey, you know what I'm saying? And it's really incredible what this director did with like the cinematography and stuff like that, because he was going in. This director was sick, because as soon as you step out of the walls and stuff like that, there are certain scenes where they're taking longer to pan off of just a long walk down a road where you're literally just watching him ride away from the city. Little stuff like that was really cool because it immerses you into the adventure and it makes you feel like, damn, he's been going for a long, long time. But we get told before, it's like 6 days. He leaves out on the 19th. He has to get there by Christmas Day or whatever, right? And he ends up meeting certain characters along the way, and you don't know if they're a part of his quest or if he's supposed to make a certain decision or if they're just people he happens to come across. And the first person he comes across is the scavenger kid who's living out in the just in a wasteland, really. So he's living out there in the wasteland, and I guess he's scavenging for money and whatever he can loot off the dead bodies and stuff like that. And so he gives Gawain a tip, saying that the Green Chapel's just over that way. If you head that way, then you'll make it in like 2 days, something like that. And Gawain appreciates him and thanks him for the advice. He starts riding away. He was like, oh, hold on. Is my advice worth nothing to you? And so it's like, you have these moments where you don't know is he supposed to just ride away like most people would? Because most people don't ask for a reward for kindness. They just give an act of kindness. Because otherwise, is it so much kindness or is it a trade? Because you want something in return for the information. You know, and it's not like we don't see why on his part. Obviously, it makes sense. And so he flips him a coin. I don't know how valuable that was, but he gives him some currency, right? Rides off, people ambush him, and then what do you know? The scavenger kid pops back up, and they take all his shit, basically rob him blind, take the axe, which he's supposed to bring back to the Green Knight and present it to him so he can return the blow that was given to him. They take all his stuff. You know what I'm saying? All he has is his little green belt that his mother gave him for protection, saying if he wore it at all times that he would never be struck down. Okay? And as long as he just kept it on him, he'll never be struck down by any man or foe. Right? And that's all he has left really at this point, is clothes. And so he's out wandering. And honestly, he is struggling, bro. He is struggling heavily. And the scavenger kid, we don't know if he was joking or not, but he wrote off talking about it. He was like, oh, I can go finish your quest for you, because this thing suits me a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and go do that. You just don't worry about it. And so they had abandoned him, and he was out on his own struggling. He goes and he tries to find some type of food. He finds little mushrooms, and they make him fucking sick as shit. Obviously, because you don't just eat random shit that's out in the forest or whatever. And then he comes upon this place, right, that's just abandoned. Seems like no one's staying there, nothing like that, right? It's just a little cottage by the lake. Goes in, no one's there. You know what I'm saying? He starts sleeping. And then he wakes up because there's a girl that's telling him, why are you sleeping in my bed? And he hops up because he's like, he don't want to be obviously rude or not. Oh, he already feels like he's been rude, but he doesn't want it to come off weird, like he's just in this woman's bed. Like, you don't know if a dude's gonna be popping around the corner, what you hear with my wife. You don't know nothing, okay? You don't know what's gonna happen, right? He pops up, he's about to leave and all that, but then she was like, well, she needed help, right? So she starts floating over toward him. And so what we come to find out is that she's a saint. She is the Saint Winifred, who I guess was I don't remember the story well enough to say what exactly her role was. But in this, she goes outside to the little lake that's right there, and she asks him, can you get my head? And he was like, what are you talking about? Your head's on your shoulder. She was like, no, it's not. It may look like it is, but it's not. It's actually down there. Can you go get it for me, please? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go get your head. And he swims down to the bottom of the lake. And again, like I said, this director is dope. Some of the shots he was doing, the way he was changing the colors, the music, it was all really going in. And he finds the skull down there, brings it back up in the cottage because the chick has disappeared. And then he goes back up to the bed, and a skeleton is there. You know what I'm saying? And he has to obviously put the head back where it was. So you don't know what's real and what's not, and what he's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do. And there's and then a fox starts following him around, right? And the fox seems relatively normal. It doesn't really need anything. It just kind of follows him along on his journey, stuff like that. And they're going, son. I mean, they're going a long way. And I guess it's still only been 3 days or whatever. But then they come across this area where it's like on top of these mountains, and they're coming over, and they see a fucking humongous hand that grips over the top of the fucking mountains, like what, Attack on Titan sign. Like, this shit was ridiculous. These niggas were huge, naked, and it's real weird. I don't know what they were. Was they real? Was they not? See, you don't understand what's happening sometimes in these movies, right? Because, yeah, there's a lot of mystical stuff going on, so you don't know if he's actually going through the journey at all or not. But I believe he actually is, and this was just a sign he had to overcome certain fears and stuff like that. But it didn't seem like he had much fear, because he asked one of them if they would let him ride on their on their shoulders so he could get over the valley quicker and get to where he needs to go. And then it comes to fucking grab him, and it hasn't said anything yet. And the fox stands in front of him and protects him. And then for some reason, the fox can somehow Is my video good? Shit. So the fox howls, and all of a sudden, all of them start like doing the same thing. Like it was crazy, bro. It was fucking insane. And then he has another meeting with this sharecropper dude who's basically letting him stay at his house, and then his wife is coming on to him, and he doesn't know if he should take advantage of that or not, because the husband has said a couple times, like, I want you to receive all the gifts of my house. Like, he's not saying it, but for all intents and purposes, he's saying it. And then a weird scene happens where it seems like she's come to give him some business, but all they were ever grabbing was his belt. And then he fucking busts a nut on his, like, so it's real weird. And then she calls him out. She's like, you're not a knight at all. And so I think that scene was really just demonstrating how a knight, no matter what, is going to keep his code of honor. It doesn't matter what someone has given him permission to do or what someone says is all right and okay. A knight sticks to his code, period, no matter the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? If he was steadfast and firm in his conviction not to go through with what obviously his body wanted to do, then he would have been fine and he wouldn't have been tempted at all. But he was swayed. And so he sets off, leaving there, and nothing really comes of that. But I think all these little events are just, maybe they're just, well, no, we know that they're literally just for his development, so he can understand that, number one, with the first little trial, that the world isn't as simple as it seems, you know what I'm saying? And kindness isn't always the greatest thing, because most of the time naivety will get you killed or left in a horrible situation, basically. And then the second thing is that sometimes acts of kindness are necessary, and sometimes you gotta take a leap of faith, you know. So there's different little messages that you could peel from all these things happening to him until he gets to the Green Knight. And then it all culminates, and he gets there, and he waits. He has to sit there and wait for him. And I think he has to wait like a day or two, because he got there a little early. And then the Green Knight wakes up, and he's like, you actually came. And he does seem relatively surprised. And he was like, okay, do you remember where you cut me? He's like, yeah. Are you ready for the blow to be returned? And he was like, yeah, I'm ready. Just give me a minute. And then he kneels down and he gets ready. And then the Green Knight goes to swing at him, and then he flinches and he backs up. And he's like, I'm sorry. I'll try it again. We'll try it again. And then he does the same thing, and the Green Knight's confused. He was like, now, what is this? I don't understand. Did I show any signs of fear when I received the blow from you? Why do you cower in fear from me? This was our deal. And then Gawain is just like, he's sorry, because, like, bro, he's scared for his life, and obviously so. He's not some damn mythical being that can carry his fucking head around and be perfectly fine, you know what I'm saying, and rejuvenate himself. No, he's the flesh and blood man. He's just a regular dude. And then he asked the Green Knight, he said, well, yeah, no, I'll do it, but is this it? Is this all there is? And then he told him. He said, what else did you expect? And bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh shit, that gave me goosebumps again, son. Because at the end of the day, that's it. You're doing all this stuff. You're putting your life in the line for honor and all this other stuff, and to be known and told and talked about for generations to come, and have stories and songs sung about you and all this other stuff. And what does it actually mean? It really means nothing. Because at the end of the day, you were going to do this quest and you're just going to die at the end. That's what this whole quest was for. Yeah, you get known as a legend, but you lose your life, and your life never really gets started in the first place. So yeah, you obtain fame, but you've never lived in the first place. And so he flees. He runs back home, and he still has his belt. You know what I'm saying? So nothing happens. The Green Knight doesn't chase him. He goes back. Arthur knights him. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Arthur passes away. He becomes the king. And obviously, it doesn't seem like things are going great. It seems like the kingdom is slowly losing ground until eventually, or it seems like the kingdom is being overrun. And then he finally takes the belt off when he's like 50 years old or 60 years old, because he's old. And then his son was just killed in battle and stuff like that. And obviously, he just watched his kid die, but he's not going to die because he's got the belt on still. And you could see through the years, even during sex, and like no matter what, taking a shower or nothing, he would never take the belt off. So it was just showing you that he had turned into a coward. He had turned into a coward, and although he had honor in name and reputation, the reality was he was the least honorable person that we knew. You know what I'm saying? All along. And once he takes the belt off, his head comes off. But then we flash back to the first moment before he flinches or nothing, because he had just seen his life flash before his eyes after he had given the Green Knight the axe. And then he asked him again. He says, "Are you ready to receive the blow with which you gave to me?" And he tells him yes. And then he don't swing the axe. He kneels down and he congratulates him. Man, I think that was like a really cool moment, because the Green Knight told him earlier, he said, "I just want this person, whoever strikes me down, to come see me out and, you know, receive whatever I have to give back to them. And after that happens, we'll part ways as friends." And he really, you could feel like he meant that, dog. Like, there was a level of respect he was going to have for whoever came to seek him out. And Gawain did. And he didn't actually flinch at the end of the day. He stood firm. You know what I'm saying? His life flashed before his eyes, and then he was ready. So, all in all, just a dope movie. A crazy adventure, man. Like, for only being 2 hours and 10 minutes or whatever, perfectly paced. Like, you get plenty of setup, and I think it takes like 30-40 minutes to actually get to the journey, or 30 minutes, I'll say. It takes about 30 minutes into the movie so you actually get to start the journey. But even then, it doesn't feel like it's rushed or nothing like that. It feels like you're going through madness, and it's taken who knows how long. You really feel like you've been through it. And I think that's a testament to this director, bro, because I don't know exactly how he pulled it off like that, but I think that this is a modern day classic for medieval style movies. You know what I'm saying? We got one earlier in the year with The Last Duel, you know what I'm saying, with the epicness and the big boy cast we had there. But this movie was different. We had a solo actor. We're following him basically the entire movie, but little characters and little moments on the side just, oh bro, it makes it so sweet. And by the end, like, you just respect so many of these characters so much, because the Green Knight, bro, he was real deal, bro. He was real deal, and I really liked him and his character a lot. But the director had to just, you know, give us the middle finger right quick at the end, talking about, okay, now off with your head. So I think it was a joke, obviously, and Gawain obviously went on to do all the amazing things he did. But to have that kind of origin story for him was pretty cool, because he was not just some prodigy from birth, really. He was the prodigal son in name, but he had to go through his trials and have a story to tell. That way he could honestly live up to Arthur's expectations, because I know how Arthur had high expectations for him. And like I said, Arthur was dope for just a few scenes that we got of him and his interactions with his nephew. That was really dope. The Green Knight was extra clean. You know what I'm saying? Himself. And Dev Patel, you showed out. You did your thing. Like you've been in a lot of movies. You're big time. So hey, he did his thing. Director did his thing. Music was going in the whole movie. Like I said, this is a dope movie through and through, all around. So I would highly recommend watching this. I'm gonna be purchasing this on DVD, Blu-ray. You already know all that when I get the chance. But this is an excellent movie, man. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 for real. And I know that seems crazy. But this was a sleeper movie of the year, man. And I think it went under a lot of people's radar, and it wasn't in theaters for very long, so that's probably why it went under people's radar. But definitely check this movie out when you can. It is a must watch, bro. Must watch. If you enjoy fantastical adventures and medieval movies, then you hit the sweet spot right here. But that's gonna do it for me, y'all. Like and subscribe. You know, comment of what else you want to see. I got a couple more reviews, trailer reactions, and all that stuff coming to ya. But until then, I'll catch you on the next video. It's been your boy T-Rav, and I'm out. The Green Knight, baby. Yeah.